This 1544 map of the Americas by Sebastian Munster captured our interest. One of the most intriguing features of this map is the inclusion of the Latin words reggio gigantum, which translates to region of giants. When we've done our research, we've found that there are numerous references to giants in this area throughout history. So who were these giants and what happened to them? Join us as we uncover the intriguing history of these giants in the old American maps. The discovery of giants in South America was a shocking revelation for the scientific community in the 18th century. According to reports from English explorer John Byron, these giants stood at an incredible height, towering over even the tallest of men. This news was met with disbelief and skepticism, but Dr. Matthew Maddy, the secretary of the British Royal Society, was convinced of the truth of these claims. In a letter to the French Academy of Sciences, he declared that the existence of giants in this part of the world was confirmed. But the tale of giants in South America didn't begin with John Byron's journey. In fact, stories of these mysterious creatures had circulated for more than 2 centuries. The first accounts of Europeans of these giants was in 1520 by the famous explorer Ferdinand Magellan during his circumnavigation of the world. According to the chronicler Antonio Pigafetta, who accompanied Magellan on his journey, one day, we saw a naked man of giant stature on the shore of the port, dancing, singing, and throwing dust on his head. When the giant was in the Captain General's and our presence, he marveled greatly and made signs with one finger raised upwards, believing that we had come from the sky. He was so tall that we reached only to his waist, and he was well proportioned. Magellan named these giants Patagons. This name may have been derived from a Portuguese and Spanish word pata, meaning foot. This interpretation has long been accepted as the origin of the name, but some have speculated that Magellan may have been inspired by a literary figure in a Spanish novel from the early 16th century. Regardless of the true origins of the name, it eventually stuck, and the region became known as Patagonia, or Land of the Big Feet. Ferdinand Magellan's encounter with the giants of South America was not just in passing. He captured 2 of these giants in an attempt to bring them back to Spain and prove their existence to the world. Unfortunately, like Magellan and the majority of his crew, the giants did not survive the journey, and their remains were apparently disposed of. Despite the lack of tangible proof, reports of these giants began to appear on maps and in the accounts of other explorers. In 1579, Sir Francis Drake's ship chaplain, Francis Fletcher, wrote about meeting very tall natives on their circumnavigation of the world, describing them as men in height and greatness so extraordinary that they hold no comparison with any of the sons of men this day in the world. While Fletcher's account put the tallest of these natives at around 7.5 feet in height, which is shorter than what the Spanish had described, they still seem to confirm the existence of giants in this part of the world. Throughout the end of the 16th century, reports of tall natives and what could be described as giants continued to surface. In 1587, Thomas Cavendish reported finding giant footprints in the region, and his companion Anthony Nevitt claimed to have seen living giants that were 13 spans, or 9 feet tall, as well as a dead body that was even taller. Before the turn of the century, 2 Dutch captains also wrote about encounters with these giants. They claimed that they were 10 or 12 feet tall. In the 18th century, reports of the giants of South America were mixed. Some accounts claimed that they were indeed giants living in this part of the world, while others stated that they were taller than the Europeans but could not be described as giants. Some even reported that they were of average height. Despite these conflicting accounts, the region continued to be labeled as Patagonia, or Land of the Big Feet, on maps. However, the depiction of these giants on maps became less common, which may be due to changing artistic styles. In 1767, an account of British naval captain John Byron was published, in which he confirmed the existence of giants in South America. Alongside this account was an image of a family of giants offering them a biscuit. This account was so convincing that Dr. Matthew Maddy wrote to the French Academy of Sciences declaring that the existence of giants in this region was confirmed. In his letter, which was published in the London Chronicle for all to see, Maddy wrote, Between 4 and 500 Patagonians of at least 8 or 9 feet in height have been seen and examined by the company of one of our ships, just returned from a voyage around the world. However, soon after Dr. Matthew Maddy's letter was published, one of France's most prestigious scientific journals claimed that the British had fabricated the whole story as a way to distract from the mercenary purpose of England's ship off the coast of Argentina. In 1773, another book was published that included accounts from the famous explorers of the day, including John Byron. It turned out that Byron's previously published accounts of giants in South America were nothing more than rumors. In this book, Byron officially stated, "One of them, who afterwards appeared to be a chief, came towards me. He was of a gigantic stature and seemed to realize the tales of Munster in a human shape. If I may judge of his height by the proportion of his stature to my own, it could not be much less than 7 feet." In 1767, another British naval officer, Captain Samuel Wallace, took measurements of the natives in Patagonia using a measuring rod. The tallest man he measured was 6 feet 7 inches, but he reported that most were between 5 feet 10 inches and 6 feet tall. In a 1774 book, a Jesuit missionary named Thomas Faulkner, who had spent almost 40 years living amongst the tribes of Patagonia, mentioned a chief who was 7 feet and some inches tall. However, Faulkner also stated that the Patagonians are a large-bodied people, but I have never heard of the gigantic race which others have mentioned, suggesting that the belief in Patagonian giants may have been exaggerated. These three accounts, along with the revised accounts of John Byron and others, seem to put an end to the belief in giants in this part of the world. If giants did exist in this region, it is likely that they would have been wiped out by disease or genocide, but no archaeological evidence of their existence has ever been found. It is now believed that the Spanish may have exaggerated the size of these natives in their reports to bolster their own reputation as explorers.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing stories.